Hey, folks, how y'all doing on this Monday evening? My name is Hopalong Arch Everett, and I'm Jeff Dunham, the city slicker. And I'm the courtesy kid, and we're going to show you some brand new cars for prices you're not going to believe. Well, let's get to it, buckaroo. Look at this, a 1980 Pontiac Sunbird for $1,266. And looky there, R2-D2. Holy Chewbacca, gee whiz. Well, there you go, with high prices. That's courtesy Pontiac and Hudson right here in Tyler.
Dave, been waiting for you for 10 minutes.
Is
that Dunham?
That's right. My name is Jeff Dunham, mild mannered car dealer.
Yeah, dude. Crap, he looks like a used car salesman from the 70s.
Fantastic. Well, why don't you show the folks a few cars?
He has a car that he wants to show us. And honestly, you're not going to believe what you're about to see. Let's go.
As cars are long forgotten and legends fade, three men have made it their life's work to recover, rebuild, and restore automotive history. Tonight,
how are you? Oh, good to see you.
One of automotive history's most obscure kit cars gets a celebrity introduction.
I would rather drive something like this than the most expensive sports car you could buy.
And the creator behind it all, returns as we finish what he started.
That's the prototype.
Oh, wow.
Then,
I've never seen one of these.
we examine some of the funnest vehicles ever created.
Gentlemen,
What's happening, Jeff?
oh, good to see you.
Good to see you, too, man.
Dave, good to see you. I'm Jeff Dunham. I'm a comedian and ventriloquist, and I collect cars and all kinds of odd toys.
In the world of stand-up comedians, Jeff Dunham is one of the most popular, holding a Guinness World Record in ticket sales for his comedy show, involving his colorful cast of ventriloquist puppets that he built himself.
Am I excited? I don't know, are you? I really don't care.
But what a lot of people don't know is Jeff's a huge automotive enthusiast. This place is awesome.
Have at it.
And has an amazingly rare collection of eclectic and historic cars.
This is the Ahmed Mobile. I was looking for a vehicle when I was doing one of my specials, and I found this online, and I went, how could we not use this? These are just the fun things, the things that have real personality and real soul. This is a Ferret Scout car, and
So
it looks like a
cool.
tank, but a tank has treads. This has tires and wheels. I love them because they are pretty individual, pretty unique. Bo just petted his butt. Did you see that?
I love the Voxmobile. And of course, now all I can stare at is the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton Batmobile. I mean, geez.
You know what, the other thing I love is magnificent failures. The ones where somebody had a great design, great ideas, and for whatever reason, they didn't work out. Like, for example, kit cars. It's a guy thinking he's gonna take on the big three. And that brings us to this kit. The Brubaker box.
In the early 70s, one concept van made waves in the automotive world. With distinct dystopian future looks and a completely different design and idea of what a van could be. But probably the most interesting aspect of these is how little information exists about this unique vehicle and its enigmatic creator. An inventor slash aviator and automotive designer from Southern California who produced a new kind of van that could be built on a Volkswagen Beetle chassis, Curtis Brubaker. Before flipping the van world upside down with his unique creation, Curtis designed planes for Learjet and developed technology for General Motors that would lead to touchscreens. In 1971, he built a prototype of his minivan as a rebodied kit car called a Brubaker box and enticed enough investors that he decided to build the vehicles completely instead of as a rebodied kit car. How many cars don't have a driver's door and only a door on the passenger side?
Which makes it super not handy.
The Brubaker box shell consisted of 13 fiberglass panels riveted and bonded together to fit over a Beetle chassis and required a hodgepodge of parts from other vehicles. But probably the most unique feature of this van was a set of real wooden bumpers. This is so cool. Ultimately, Curtis couldn't reach a deal with Volkswagen to sell him only the chassis and drivetrains, and was forced to declare bankruptcy after only finishing 3 Brubaker boxes. Investors in the company tried to keep his idea alive by manufacturing the shells and selling them as kits to buyers who would supply their own chassis and drivetrain. Mike Hansen's Auto Mecca, who originally sold this Brubaker, would go on to produce 25 more. Between these two companies, only 19 Brubaker boxes are known to exist today. I think this is such a cool piece of automotive history, and I'd love if Mr. Brubaker's still alive. It'd be cool to try to see if we could talk to him and understand, you know, what he was thinking when he went through this whole thing.
I would rather drive something like this than the most expensive sports car you could buy, because it's just so much more fun. This needs to be my daily driver. I would take this Brubaker box and drive it anywhere. I'd take it to meetings. I just want to make sure that it's going to work for that. I just think to bring one of these things back and make it like it was and make it great, that's what the whole idea with restoration is.
Absolutely. We can find a really badass 8-track player, period correct.
Yep. Stem to stern, that thing needs a complete rehash. There's a Corvair motor in it.
Does it run?
No, it wasn't installed correctly. I want to make it look like it was built yesterday, but yesterday would have been in 1975.
Such a strange little van.
But this thing's gonna be pretty rad.
Cool.
Well, let's start by not breaking the door.
So this is the world's first minivan.
Well, first sports van, anyway.
Where'd you guys find this thing?
This is Jeff Dunham's.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, the interior of this actually had a wraparound couch in the back.
That's exactly what I would do to it.
The inside of the car had a layout that maximized both space and 70s decor. The gas tank, well, that doubles as an ottoman for the wraparound couch in the rear-forming mini lounge. So we need to have our upholsterer recreate the couch and ottoman in black leather.
I even see a speaker in here. Maybe we could put a TV, surround sound, something
No,
like that.
none of that stupid. Maybe like an 8-track from the 70s, so it's all period correct.
This roof looks like someone painted over a vinyl top.
See, that's the thing. It's actually molded into the fiberglass. As you can see, there's some rough spots on the body we need to repair. But no matter what, we've got to maintain this original texture.
We definitely need to recreate an original-looking set of wooden bumpers for this thing.
The other thing is, this didn't have this dash in it.
I would love to know why they put such a large open area underneath the dash in this thing.
This restoration presents all kinds of opportunities for problems because
There's 0 parts available for these, and there's barely any photos we can even use as a reference.
this has to be delivered to Jeff Dunham as a fully functional driver.
And if that wasn't enough to complicate everything,
I have no idea what half of this is on here.
This almost looks like a back window out of something.
It kind of looks like the windshield out of a Gremlin.
Yeah. Where do you think the back window came from?
I'm pretty sure that's out of an El Camino.
This is so weird. I mean, it's like a hodgepodge of parts.
What's up with this engine?
Well, you could get a Volkswagen engine, but this one has a Corvair Turbo 6.
Ooh, the Corvair. That was a beastie motor.
Well, that was the most horsepower option for this chassis. With 140 horsepower. Unfortunately, it's been dormant since before Jeff caught it.
All I know is Jeff wants to use this as his daily driver. So we've got to make this thing 100% roadworthy without changing its history.
What the are we gonna compare it to?
I don't know, but we got to try to get a hold of Curtis Brubaker.
or somebody else who has a clue about these things.
Yeah, the door doesn't open with it.
Yeah. It's gonna need some work. Jeez.
Do we have to get in it?
Today, we got to get this Brubaker box apart that we're restoring for comedian and good friend Jeff Dunham.
Bumper coming off.
No wonder the thing won't run.
Yeah, those welded up intakes were never really the way to go.
As usual, my expectations were spot on.
But the biggest concern is that there's absolutely nowhere to get Brubaker parts, so we have to hold on to as much as possible.
This is nasty. There's more glue on this window than there is most whole cars.
But as far as the body panels and windows go, we've got to remove them really carefully to preserve them.
Ew.
No matter how much glue we got to go through to do that.
Dude, no way. It's still stuck down here. There's so much glue, it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
There it goes.
Oh yeah.
Normally, we don't have to go through all this trouble. But I'm not exactly sure what these windows are, and I doubt they're even made anymore.
Keep steady pressure on it. It's coming. It's coming now.
Oh yeah, we're looking good.
Fun's over.
Coming up,
They used mud flaps as inner fenders?
the box yields more questions than answers.
This is gnarly.
And
What the is this?
we experience German luxury from 1929.
You really need suspension?
You need suspension?
You don't need those things.
Come on. It's almost impossible. This rat's nest of wires is just for the dash.
What was the extension cord for?
It appears to be to the taillights.
Shut the up.
Yep.
The further we dig into this Brubaker box, the more messed up we're finding.
Looks like a half-melted snowball in there.
It's tough to say what's more annoying, the fact that nobody makes any parts for these things.
They used mud flaps as inner fenders?
It's just or that whoever put this kit together in the first place used a bunch of the wrong, and a lot of it isn't even supposed to be used on an automobile. This is gnarly. This is the track for the sliding door. But man, underneath this thing, I mean, there's everything from bathtub caulk to really crispy pieces of wood.
Oh, there we go. Now it's a party. Is there like fish or something swimming in there? What is that? Why is that moving? Yeah. I'm thinking we send this one out.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this over to our dude at L&M, get it stripped back to metal. Before we try to get the engine running. I know it probably looks like I just walked into some kind of murder scene, but it's actually a place we use for chemical stripping. What's up, dude?
What's up, baby?
Good to see you.
Me too.
I just got this little gas tank.
Okay. Cool.
It stinks. It's been sitting for a long time, maybe
Okay.
30, 40 years.
No problem.
Chemical stripping involves soaking metal parts in corrosive vats that are able to remove paint, rust, grease, and other sludge without damaging the metal. In the case of this gas tank, we really can't get inside to clean it, so it's gonna soak overnight, which should remove any old rust or gas sludge and take it down to bare metal, so we can start restoration. Adios.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Mike, wait till you see this.
What did you get this time?
I'm really geeked out and excited about this car. So the car came all the way from France, but it's actually a little German car. What's happening, Tommy?
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Tommy? Hey.
Let's get this thing down, man. Wait till you see this. Check this out, Mike.
What the is this?
Hanamog.
A Hanamog?
When's the last time you saw one of these?
I've never seen one of these.
Truth be told, most people have never seen or even heard of a Hanamog 210,
Oh, wow.
which is surprising given its importance in the history of motoring. Hanamog was a German company that began producing steam locomotives back in 1835, before expanding into tractors, military vehicles, and eventually, in 1925, automobiles. What made this small rear-engine economy car so important? It was the first affordable car for Europe's middle class, and its aesthetics would directly influence the most produced single-platform car in history, the Volkswagen Beetle. Now, this is a 1928 model. You'll notice between the Cyclops headlight, the kind of phone booth that's kind of shoved into a Twinkie look, it's got some really unusual design cues about it.
Where's the other door?
Well, that's the thing. They only had one door.
This side.
So you actually entered from the passenger side, just like the Brubaker box.
That seems to be kind of a theme.
One door on the side, so check it
Chariot
out, man.
awaits. Oh, wow. Hey, there's a lot of room in there.
Yeah, it's really comfortable.
There is.
Wow.
Well, and that's specific to the design. Think about this in 1924. All cars, the fenders were on the outside.
Right.
So this was one of the first cars with what they call envelope styling. The fenders are now on the inside rather than the outside of the
right.
body, and that gives more room to the passenger compartment. Envelope styling, also known as pontoon styling, was widely used on cars throughout the 60s. In fact, elements of it are still incorporated in modern car design.
Imagine parking this thing would be easy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but driving these things can be kind of difficult because of the controls. Let's get John. He's the expert on all things German automotive. So John, you gotta tell me, what's it like driving this thing? There's all kinds of confusing knobs and switches and gears and a language I don't know.
3 pedals, but none of them do what you think they're supposed to do. In this car, if you go for a panic stop, you're accidentally hitting the gas.
Yeah, so don't do that. Luckily, this thing doesn't have a ton of power.
So supposedly 10 horsepower, but I'm feeling about 4 right now.
And when they designed this almost 100 years ago, it was all about efficiency. They got rid of as many things as you could. So do you really need 2 doors? Do you really need 2 headlights? Do you really need suspension?
You need suspension?
You don't need those things. Those are all luxuries.
So what do you think? Can we get this ugly intake and this ridiculous carburetor off this thing and get all this set up back to stock and see if we can actually get it to run?
Okay.
Corvair's always ran pretty decent, so we should be good.
All right. Dave asked me to take off that 4-barrel carburetor that we had on this thing and trash this funky welded up intake. We found someone who had a complete rebuilt set of original 140 horse Corvair carburetors. Putting it all back to a stock original will make this much more reliable, which is important because Jeff wants to use this as a daily driver. Not to mention, I think it's going to be, in this case, a visual improvement.
That's ignition.
And I think the small red was the fuel pump.
This is battery feed?
Yes. Mike came by and went over all the wiring on the car, so I know where to hook up the ignition. We'll test fire this thing shortly and see if we can't make Jeff happy.
I hear the fuel pump. Everything looks good. Why don't you try to roll it over, dude?
All right.
At best, this Corvair engine is at least 50 years old and hasn't ran for years. But given the amount of other we have to source right now, it would be awesome if we could get this thing running and use it for the build.
Side's not running great.
That cylinder
Is not firing.
has no heat.
Yeah, that's troublesome.
It's doing what it's supposed to do. We got spark, we got fuel, so the timing's got to be off. I'm going to take a look at the distributor.
Right now, they're making some adjustments to the distributor, which controls the ignition timing. We got fuel pressure, we got spark, so to just adjust a little bit. And hopefully we can get this thing running a little smoother.
Okay, try again.
Go. Okay, why did I have no control of the throttle? Why was it wide open?
The throttle linkage came apart.
That's why it was wide open on one carb?
Yeah.
That explains that.
All right, good.
It runs, I'm calling it for today.
So I've been trying to find Curtis Brubaker. You know, I hear he's a bit of an enigma and hard to find. But holy crap, I can't find this guy anywhere. Curtis, where are you? Sorry, no matches. Hey, you know Curtis Brubaker, Brubaker box? All right, well, thank you. No, I'm looking for Curtis Brubaker. Curtis Brubaker? You can't have dropped off the face of the earth. No, I don't have anything to sell. I'm just trying to get a hold of Curtis Brubaker.
Brubaker box number 1.
Really? You guys have the #1 Brubaker box?
Yep.
Awesome. And you've actually talked to Curtis before?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. And I will follow up with you and look forward to it. Thank you. Got a chance.
Coming up,
Is this really the #1 Brubaker?
Yeah.
Dave and Jeff check out the original Brubaker box.
Nice.
And
So this is it, huh?
Yeah?
a familiar name checks in on the box.
50 years ago, we were building this thing, not knowing who the hell we were or what we were doing. That's so cool.
I cannot wait to see this thing.
Is this really the #1 Brubaker?
Yeah, I guess that's my understanding. While Bo was searching for Curtis Brubaker's contact information, he actually stumbled across the dudes who found the #1 Brubaker box.
The best part is they're local, and they were able to get Bo in touch with Curtis Brubaker. So while he's doing that,
Jeff and I are here to see the original Brubaker box and get some answers about the Brubaker box we're restoring. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing,
Gentlemen,
Dave?
hi.
Hey,
to meet
Jeff,
you.
good to
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet you.
My name's Tomo Bullum.
I'm Dale Davis.
We've got the Holy Grail.
So this is our dude.
This is our dude.
Wow. Nice.
This is the very first original Brubaker box that ever existed.
And Curtis confirmed that?
Yeah.
You did.
Wow.
Dale and I hopped on an airplane, went to Florida. We had to unearth this thing. At that time, we didn't know that this was the #1 box. Once we finally got it back to our shop, did research, got in touch with Curtis Brubaker, then we found out that we have a #1 car.
So these are the bumper brackets for the wooden bumpers?
Yeah. We actually have the molds for that.
Oh. Is that right?
Like the originals?
Yeah.
Is that something that we might borrow? Perhaps?
Oh, he's rubbing his hands.
It's got a 3.5-inch arc. Our friends that had the Brubaker #1 were nice enough to loan me these molds to make the bumpers for Jeff Dunham's Brubaker. These molds of the original Brubaker bumpers are meant to create fiberglass replicas, but for safety reasons. I just feel weird about fiberglass bumpers, so I'm gonna make these out of steel and use these molds to dimension them, and then I'll have Eric cut them out on the water jet. This will create a much safer bumper and precisely match the original dimensions.
Perfect.
Well, certainly not the most high-tech bumper in the world, but it is a Brubaker bumper nonetheless. Ouch. Ew. Damn it. Ow. Hole in my glove. To be faithful to the original aesthetic, I'm gonna do something that's maybe a little bit cooler, and that's painting the wood grain. It takes a range of custom-made colors to match the wood grain. To match the original bumpers, we're going with golden brown and James brown.
James Brown coming at you.
Yeah, James Brown. These paints are transparent, kind of like candy, so the more coats you put on, the darker it gets. Almost ready. After you get the combo you like, to create the wood grain, you carefully pull a special-made sponge through the paint to get that effect.
Like that. Yep, come on.
And then, to even everything out and cover any light spots, we hit it with the airbrush. This is almost too much fun. I think we're pretty close on that first one. There you go, sir.
Oh, all right. Those look pretty credible, like our originals. My name is Kurt Brubaker, designer of the Brubaker box. It's an amazing job you did.
Things have changed a little bit since the early 70s.
Thanks to Dale and Tomo, the guys who found Brubaker box #1, I got in touch with the Curtis Brubaker. I can't even begin to explain how awesome this is, because we have so many questions that only he can answer.
So this is it, huh?
Yeah? Has it been a little while?
Been a long while. Got my first look at the Brubaker box being built for Jeff Dunham. Wanted to give him a hand. Went back into history and looking at how the originals were built.
I have so many questions.
Oh, man.
So
Ask
many.
him.
What exactly was the plan for this whole space under the dash?
That is what is today a frunk,
A frunk.
Oh, right on.
Front trunk.
only we access it from the inside.
It's always ideal to get the information from the original hands that built these cars. So I've got a question. How did you come up with this idea and design?
My brother had a VW van. We were all sitting in my office, and we looked out, and sure enough, it was rolling down Pico. Somebody was stealing it. I was thinking, why is this guy stealing a used Volkswagen truck? And we got to thinking about all the surfer kids that are driving these things.
Yeah.
We took a trip down to Newport Beach. I took one picture where there's like 7 or 8 of them on one street, tiny street. So there's a market here. But not for a conventional one, something that appeals more to the kids.
This vehicle really makes a lot more sense now, knowing that it was created for surfers and a younger demographic to basically be the coolest minivan ever.
What were your design intentions with the tech on this vehicle? specifically with the stereo.
We put it here.
We're actually planning to put an 8-track in here.
If you put that in, I can claim part of the design of that.
What do you mean?
I worked on with the 8-track with Bill Lear. He hired me to do his airplane, the Learjet. Bill had this idea for a sealed cassette that you never had to rewind. We were moonlighting and building the first 8-track.
So wait, you helped develop the 8-track player?
Yeah.
You're kidding. That's phenomenal.
That's phenomenal.
What else did you design we don't know about?
I forget.
Okay, so far we know that Curtis Brubaker was directly part of the development and the creation of the Brubaker box kit car and the 8-track cassette player. But through our research, we've actually learned that he was involved in the development of many technological advancements, which officially makes him one of the most famous inventors that you've never heard of. Now, I understand you brought some slides to help us with the restoration.
Yeah, I brought you a few of the early stage. Starts with a 5th scale clay model.
That is so cool.
50 years ago, we were building this thing, not knowing who the hell we were or what we were doing, and trying to build a unique car.
And this is all the prototypes?
That's the prototype at the LA Auto Show.
Oh.
That's where we debuted it. We got the crowds. We found there was such a tremendous interest in the product. I mean, there were more people wanting to lay down cash for one of these things. That was a total surprise for us.
Is that you?
So checking out the quality control. We had difficulty in raising money and trying to get a source of knockdown chassis, and that's where our limited production ended.
Having access to these slides actually helps us understand some of the mystery of this car, and frankly, the brilliance of Curtis Brubaker and how he developed this one-of-a-kind vehicle.
It's one of the original posters.
Oh, wow.
It's personally rewarding to see the design has held on as long as it has. It looks like they're going to do a very commendable restoration.
I mean, check these out. Get into it.
Coming up on Car Kings,
Need to find an old 70s 8-track tape player.
Mad Mike searches for old tech.
What's this? Oh, it's a pager encoder.
And Dave works outside the box.
Look at the couch.
Dude, it's a full lounge back here in this tiny little minivan. We've made a minivan cool.
I just love driving my 1992 Winnebago Braves. If you look at it from the outside, you think it's an old piece of junk, but actually, this thing is as nimble as a jackrabbit. I've done some major modifications to it, but the crown jewel is definitely the stereo. It's got 9.2 surround sound pushed by 4,000 watts. Check this out. Yeah!
Whose world is this? Mine admitted everything that's been printed. I
banging.
Overcommitted. My foot's to the door so greasy. Believe me, sitting here is never easy. Preview me. That picture that I paint so beautifully is the new me. Southside LED with a few groupies. Gotta be the coupe or truck. No hoopies.
Today we're looking for an 8-track tape player for Jeff Dunham's Brubaker. And it has to be authentic back from the 70s, so if there's anywhere that has it, All Electronics will have it. Hey, Mike. What's cracking, man?
Mike? How you doing, man?
I need to find an old 70s 8-track tape player.
Maybe. I might have one of those. We got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of old stuff, man.
All Electronics is a spot that I find all the most amazing gadgets and little trinkets that you could ever find that has to do with electronics.
We got a lot of old stuff over here in the corner.
Oh,
Let's see what we got.
Normally, I like to trick out cars, bring them up to date. But for Jeff, we're retro-teching this Brubaker box to the state it would be in when it first debuted. Oh, man. Oh, some old dry cell batteries?
Yeah, we don't throw nothing away. I told you that.
Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a pager encoder. Oh, wait, look at this. Look at that.
Right?
Pioneer TP7000. Wow. Now, let me check the heads out. They look like they're in really good condition. The heads look to be good. It looks like it came from the 70s. Yeah, everything looks brand new in there. It's pretty authentic.
Right?
Jeff Dunham is gonna be ecstatic when he sees this in this Brubaker. I think we're good to go. How much?
Maybe a few $100.
100? Come on, man. You can do better than that.
What do you got there?
When Dunham and I were down to go see the first Brubaker, they had a bunch of the original molds, and they gave me an already made cover for the floating dash. That dude just needs to live like that.
So we just need to make a structure to support this.
Yeah, I'm thinking like some 1-inch square tubing with some plates on the ends to bolt that down. This will be easy.
One of the more unique features of this Brubaker box is its floating dash. After talking to Curtis Brubaker, we know that the front of this thing is supposed to have a storage area that's accessible from the inside. So it actually makes sense to leave this open.
I dig it. I think more cars should have this whole floating dash thing. This thing's rad. Easily, it's my favorite part of this whole car.
Now I gotta go paint this thing.
In order to restore this thing properly, we have to go over the fiberglass and repair any cracks or holes, and then basically do all the bodywork, smooth them out, and then add the original texture back on.
That's the heaviest texture, but...
This looks like the craters of the moon.
Yeah, they're too big, too spread out.
We made test panels with some different sprayable water-based Stone Guard products to compare to the texture.
What do you think about the one on the right?
That looks like that'll blend.
I think we're good with this, dude. I think it works. Clearly, here you can see now, that's the texture that this gun provides, which is actually pretty dead on. So we're gonna hit the rest of the spots that need this texture, and then we can move on to get this Brubaker box painted.
All these wires hook up to sensors in the car. 3 different systems. So we have car sensors, the water temp, oil temp, and tach. And then we have the dash box sensors. And then all of that is on this schematic right here. So many things that you gotta think about and all gather them into one. This is like my brain on a screen, so you're looking inside my brain right now. Look what I had for dinner last night. Spaghetti. Jeff Dunham wanted that old school 8-track tape player in here, so we're gonna hook it up. And hopefully everything's working on it.
You got some cassettes to stick in there?
Oh, yeah, man. Back in the day, I used to put record players in cars, which really didn't work out very well. And then the 8-track came along.
Looks good.
Let's get the speakers going. Oh, yeah, we got something. It should be ready to rock.
Stick the cassette in there, see if it works.
Hell yeah. There you go, man.
It works.
So now I can get the template and cut the hole for the speaker.
I've always been a big fan of monster movies. And that's actually how I kind of like to think about this one.
There it goes.
It's been an absolute monster. From the lack of available information to the shoddy construction someone used to jerry-rig this thing together. But not all monsters are bad.
Seeing the upholstery come together with the floating dash and all the other unique details makes me appreciate this thing a lot more. And what Curtis Brubaker set out to do when he created it.
What's happening, guys?
Oh, hey, buddy.
You know, it looks nice. It just kind of looks dark.
If you put some sunlight on it,
Oh, it completely changes.
Oh, it pops hard, too.
The interior's coming up beautiful.
So look at the couch.
Dude, it's a full lounge back here in this tiny little minivan.
Check this out, Bo. We got an 8-track tape player.
So where does that go?
It goes right over here on the side of the driver.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, fits in there perfect.
Oh, that's so cool. I am ecstatic to see this Brubaker box coming together. And knowing just how true this is to Curtis Brubaker's original design elevates this restoration.
Sounds good, actually.
Yeah. Really good.
I mean, it's nice and tight. I mean, this thing should be ready to go.
Good work, guys. We've made a minivan cool.
Right?
Jeff's gonna be blown away. Is that a mannequin?
Coming up,
I gotta tell you, we couldn't have picked a better day to be driving this thing.
we bring way more than chairs to the beach.
I don't think this could be more fun to drive. This thing is just magnificent.
And
oh no, here he comes. Do we have a plate on this thing?
the heat is on.
What is this thing?
It's called a Brubaker box.
This is the Aston Martin Vanquish shooting brake. Now, a lot of people don't know what a shooting brake is. The name shooting brake comes from a horse-drawn carriage used to transport hunting parties in 19th century England. The carriage being the same one used to brake spirited horses. European manufacturers started using the term in the 60s and 70s to refer to the two-door station wagon-inspired variants of their sports cars. Oh, hear that Aston V12? Aston Martin only made 99 Zagatos, and for good reason. The body panels are hand-rolled and take over 2,000 hours to craft. Even the roof has a trick up its sleeve. The glass has built-in shading. That's so cool. It is a little nerve-wracking to drive a $1 million car, but honestly, this is a car when you're driving it, every moment you're driving, you're loving it. It's a nice day at the beach.
Yep, surfers. I don't surf. Do you surf?
No.
I don't. No.
So you want some music or something?
Yes.
Okay,
Music would be
I
great.
brought something, as a matter of
Okay,
fact.
good.
Check it out.
Now, where's the 8-track?
Right over here. The player.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's much better. Perfect. All right, that's great.
What started out as a project to bring this quirky sports van back to life actually turned into an insightful journey to fulfill its destiny. In the late 1960s, Southern California youth tossed their surfboards onto beat-up old wagons and vans to flock to the beach. But one inventor saw an opportunity to change this and provide a youthful, sporty alternative to the utilitarian classics. Curtis Brubaker. Unfortunately, his endeavor and subsequent attempts to produce a new kind of van were a wipeout. And as stewards of automotive history, we couldn't let his forward-thinking vision wash away into obscurity. The Brubaker box. A minivan with an aggressive rake and sporty exterior, capturing the aesthetic trends of the era. Our biggest challenge with this restoration was a complete lack of information and replacement parts. But with molds from Brubaker box number 1,
I have so many questions.
ask him, and insight from its creator, Curtis Brubaker, we were able to bring this creation back to the world. And today we're in Malibu, cruising to the beach in style, just as Curtis Brubaker intended to do.
I gotta tell you, Bo, the way that the guys took this back to what it was supposed to look like, just great. And the fact that there's an 8-track.
I mean, it's brand new, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Redid the interior, redid all the seats, all the carpets. Obviously, on the exterior, we recreated the wooden bumpers out of metal, the paint.
I think it looks beautiful in the sun. It's fantastic.
It totally changes in the sun.
Yeah.
It just lights up. It's beautiful.
This thing is just magnificent. It's just so much fun. It has personality oozing out of it. You can tell this car has a soul, and it's a lot happier now. The suspension is great. It rides really well. I don't think this could be more fun to drive. It's very easy.
Well, that was the idea. You said you want something as a daily driver, so here we are, man.
This is not a Sunday driver. This is get out and just have fun with it on any day. And if you want attention, I don't know how you get more attention than in that thing. Oh no, here he comes. Do we have a plate on this thing?
Oh, you are getting pulled over.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good afternoon. What is this thing?
It's called
a Brubaker box.
A what?
Brubaker box from 1975.
Wow, is that an 8-track?
Yeah, we got an 8-track for it.
All right, I just wanted to know what this thing was. Have fun.
Thanks, officer.
I gotta tell you, we couldn't have picked a better day to be driving this thing. The sun is out, it's cool.
And we couldn't have picked a better vehicle to bring to the beach.
Well, how was it?
Dude, this is incredible. I've never been in anything like this, man.
No?
No.
No, this thing was an absolute blast. We got pulled over, but the guy was really,
They were
the guy
very
was-
nice.
Yeah, the guy was really nice
Very,
to us.
very
yeah,
nice.
LAPD guy pulled us over.
He thought the van looked cool and wanted to see what we were driving.
Shut up.
Right, so.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is really, really cool.
Yo, this is insane.
Right?
Whoa.
When we started out on this build, we really didn't know anything about the Brubaker box other than it had a cool, unique look. But through this process and meeting its creator, we learned that it was all by design.
Dude, you guys have an awesome car here, bro.
Thanks, man.
Glad you like it.
Curtis Brubaker's divergent, youthful interpretation of a van definitely accomplishes what he set out to do. And being able to share it with the world and see people's positive reaction proves that.
Well, this was great. Guys, I got to go pick up my boys. They're at school.
Can we get a ride back?
To Galpin? Sure. Why not?
All right.
Shotgun.
Oh, cool. I get the lounge in the back,
Oh,
man.
man.
Ooh, I get to lounge with Mike. What's so special about the Brubaker box is that it represents an era of fearless optimism in automotive history. One where entrepreneurs and car designers saw needs that weren't met and created their own car companies. These people brought their visions to the road, drove innovation, and kept car culture moving forward.
I have zero complaints about this thing.
That's what I want to hear.